I love that mini-fronted spaceship. That's really dumb.
All right, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. Where have we landed?
We've landed on an uncharted rock structure, somewhere outside the range of what was previously understood to be the limit of human interstellar travel.
I see. So, Sub-Lieutenant Jones, what exactly do we know about this place?
Well, it's an uncharted rock structure, somewhere outside the range of what was previously understood to be the limit of human interstellar travel.
I see. I don't suppose you could enlighten the audience with anything a little more specific.
Look, I'm called Aled Jones, probably the most generic, stereotypical Welsh name in existence.
I was thinking that earlier.
It's clear that whoever's writing this hasn't bothered doing a terrible amount of research. I wouldn't count on anything specific.
At least he hasn't made any walking in the air jokes.
How will we go about finding the location of the Beagle 2-2? Presumably we have some kind of app for that.
I'm afraid not. We could download one. Only costs 69p.
69 pence? Not bad when it's free. Right. The plan is, we head out, walk around aimlessly, look at a load of stuff eliciting a series of wry remarks, then start clicking everywhere until something happens.
I linger in the background and provide a series of hints if you feel things are a little too vexing.
Why break tradition, eh, Sub-Lieutenant Jones? Let's go!
Supply crate?
No doubt filled with epic loot, as they say on the YouTubes.
Ah, cheers, Bert.
Oh.
Her Majesty's spaceship Imperial Eyes. As beautiful as she is subtle.
Rock.
It's a rock. This is one of those situations where you're stuck between a rock and, well, more rocks.
Look, boyo, over there.
Where?
By that rock.
Would it trouble you immensely to use another point of reference, Sub-Lieutenant Jones?
Fine, boyo. By that gorilla.
Good grief! That's the second biggest monkey I've ever seen.
I think he's holding the Beagle 2-2.
Put that down, you damn dirty ape! Come on, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. Let's get after him. It's a ladder.
Thank you, sir. I didn't know what it was. I was worried. The rock.
It's another rock. I fear I'm at risk of repeating myself.
I would agree.
Look, there isn't really much for me to work with here. Humorously, I mean, obviously if I was a stonemason, there'd be loads to work with. This is one of those situations where
Okay,
you're
he's run
stuck
out of
between a rock
he's run out of rock-based
and
conversations.
more rocks.
Yeah, what's that up there? More rock. A little shrubbery.
It really does look nice. And not too expensive. No point leaving without a souvenir.
Not so fast, you English mongrels. What do we have here, Pierre? Ah. Well, I see. Well, it would appear that you are too late, monsieur.
English. Captain Frank Lee English.
I'd just
Oh,
like to
God.
clarify that I'm not actually English. I'm Welsh.
Frank Lee English.
Monsieur English and Monsieur Welsh. It would appear that you have been too late. Mon subordinate Pierre and moi have beaten you and your queen to this rich, fertile, nouveau world.
It's a
you are defecating with your presence will be the location of my vast winery, growing the sweetest French crepes the world has ever tasted. And everyone will eat crepes, wear berets, carry baguettes, ride bicyclettes, and all the other things we French like to do.
You're insane.
Am I?
Not since Binary Domain has a French character been so badly represented.
And how are you going to stop me?
Honestly, I imagine this standoff will be resolved through the completion of some sort of moderately juvenile, yet entertaining puzzle.
How can you be so sure?
Well, it's got us this far. I fear you underestimate the extent to which a conceited self-confidence, fueled by national historical achievements, can profit one in such circumstances.
Ha! We've been perfecting the same method for centuries. You'll have to do better than that.
We intend to ridicule you into submission, exhausting an extensive list of social stereotypes conceived through years of suspicion and ignorance.
Then what? Are you going to celebrate with a petit crumpet? Eh? Wash down with a cup of tea? Expose your crooked teeth while you laugh regaling this tale with your unsatisfied wives? Ha! Je can play that game, Monsieur English.
By the power of Grayskull, I have the power!
Oh, mon Dieu, I can't believe you actually said that.
Well, we could. Look! A three-headed monkey!
Where?
Quick, Sub-Lieutenant Jones, run!
Oh, man! How did I fall for that? Wait, you're right. I am too trusting. Pardonnez-moi, I'm a sucker for the blue eyes.
What now, boyo?
Well, before we can legitimately lay claim to this new world, we need to remove their flag and hoist ours in its place.
Why?
Didn't they teach you history at school, Sub-Lieutenant Jones? That's just how these things work.
Okay. So, how are we going to do this? Cheese. French stereotype.
I've brought a peace offering. A sample of delicious British dairy produce.
Do not insult my palate with your bland, insipid, rotten lactose. It pales in comparison to our superior, deliciously aged rotten lactose.
Well, that's diplomacy off the dining table.
Okay, so cheese ain't going to work. Although my cheese has now got holes in it.
Stop. One step closer and I'll have you made into pate.
Okay, he doesn't like me walking up there. What about this record?
Can't use these two
He didn't like that
together.
either. Okay, so. If Alan's got any ideas.
Sub-Lieutenant Jones!
Aye, boyo?
So, any groundbreaking ideas?
Are you still talking about rocks?
No, I feel we've mined that particular topic for all it's worth.
Really? I'd say we've only just scratched the surface.
You're trying, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. Very trying. Do you have any ideas how to deal with our continental cousins?
Above my paycheck, boyo. Don't we have anything back in the ship to de-escalate diplomatic dramas?
I can't say I've much experience with triple Ds,
Oh, I've handled a couple.
but we may be able to fashion something on board to distract them.
Sounds like we're going back to the ship then. Unreal Engine 4 games look really nice. I think the first thing I'm going to look at is the that cat litter tray.
I won't be long, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. Amuse yourself until I get back.
I'll try and recollect the last couple of hours.
Why is the alarm going off? Oh. Never mind. Right. Go out of here. I'm kinda hoping there's no more ghosts. Right, what we got in here?
Without the right tools for the job, I'm not risking it.
I've got the trowel.
Ooh. Ay, bendito. I make no bones about how grim that was.
There is no metal in that toilet. There's something funny about crushing Sabutio players with his giant boots. Right. You've already been in there, there's nothing in there. Yep, nothing in there. Right. What is this metal detector for? What have we still got that we can do? Or what room have we not completed? Got the cheese and the tea. Microwave hasn't done anything yet. The lab's still got that stupid frog thing. Doesn't mean I've got to go down in the ghostly depths, though.
If you want a job done around here, you've got to do it.
Oh, I was hoping it would skip the animation, not just the dialogue. Fair play to them. They've managed to design an area of a spaceship that is just big enough that you can get around and it doesn't feel too tiny, but you can still remember where things are. Metal detector? Oh, hello. Oh.
It doesn't appear to be working.
There's got to be a use for that thing.
It isn't great for the environment. Replacement ribbons are a real buyer.
What do I do with this?
It has a warmth that you simply don't get with digital.
Oh,
Especially
hang
if you
on.
burn the sleeve as well.
Oh, and it's changed now.
Nothing on
Oh.
the turntable.
Yes, I know. That's what I want you to
I
do.
can't use these two together.
Ah. Controls. Do some more button mashing. Are they all asleep now?
Seems to be one of those pay-to-win games. I'm afraid I've nothing useful to hand. It's part of the laboratory equipment, the biology. I'm not sure what happened to him. No one's seen him.
Alright, we've seen this.
Not to worry. I'm sure he'll turn up.
The frogs are asleep now.
They're sound asleep, helpless to oppose the future forced upon them. Like the youth after the referendum. Gosh, it's full of the blighters.
Okay, the thing I didn't think of. You know when we sat on that sofa and we heard that metal clink? That seems like a good use for a metal detector.
We're a tad under-resourced to be attempting that at the moment. Oh, what have we here? Either the upholstery's been woven from tinsel, or we've hit the jackpot.
Aha! And now we can
It's
put
another
money in
glazed
the
purse
frog
filled with
thing.
Loose change. Once more onto the breach we go.
Right, so the purse is equipped, so now I can use that on
While
the
I'm here,
thing.
I may as well give it a go.
Wait, the frogs are awake again. Okay, let's put them back to sleep, because I'm assuming that's important.
I appear to be caught short. I've nothing.
It's an interesting game. It's definitely something you wouldn't expect to see in this day and age. It sort of reminds me of kind of the weirder stuff like Octodad's a bit less traditional than this, but press up on the left stick to move the claw forward, then press left on the left stick to blah 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 blah.
Gotcha!
Wow, that's the most generous UFO catcher I've ever had. Oh, frogs, French. Right, okay.
You know the old saying? A frog in the hand is worth two in the biological science testing facility.
So what the hell am I going to use that frog for? Ooh.
How very retro.
What is this globe for?
There's no place like home.
Wrong way. Wrong way. I think I'm gonna go try that frog on the old French dude. Right, let's go. I thought this planet looked a bit rough when it was just the little rover, but now that I'm actually here as a movable character, this looks pretty good. Right. Try the frog.
If my moderately racist grandparents have taught me anything, it's that this should work.
Go on, frog.
They're not biting. Perhaps I need to make my offer more appetizing.
Okay. Can I combine the frog with the cheese?
How convenient. The cheese sticks to his moist green flesh. thus
What?
addressing this ethically questionable puzzle.
Surprised they didn't get me to get a baguette.
If my moderately racist grandparents have taught me anything, it's that this should work.
What is this sorry excuse for that? Oh, is that Swiss cheese? Slice of Emmental de Savoie with its attached right now. Qui êtes-vous? Une petite entrée as well? Bien, les condiments, allez! Don't let him get away.
Huzzah!
I hope the little fella's alright.
I wouldn't worry. I'm sure they won't harm him. They're not complete savages, just French.
I wonder how this game plays in French.
Right. Well, that's the first thing it'll have to go. Ah! It appears to be protected by some kind of high-tech electrical wizardry.
Alright, let's follow the cable.
Say, that's quite the collection of wine. It's out of reach. Surely this is a breach of health and safety. Gosh, listen to me. Next thing I'll be condoning morality.
I've got nothing in my inventory. So, I'm guessing I need to just find something down here. Bottle of wine?
I can't. I'm teetotal.
I don't want you to drink it, I just want you to take it.
Unbelievable. Since they've been out here, he's finished the whole lot without even removing his helmet. Sub-Lieutenant Jones,
Aye, boyo?
your sister's studying in Swansea.
No, oh god damn it.
Not to visit her. A few of us went camping around the Gower, though. Slowly the further out to the city you go.
Yes. The farther the better. Don't mind me.
I was hoping we'd have a meaningful conversation, but apparently not. Can I throw a rock at it? Well, if you're going to tell me that I couldn't pick up a rock until I had a use for it, that seems like breaking the adventure game manifesto.
There are a lot of rocks.
No, just let me look at those.
This is one of those situations where you're stuck between a rock and more rocks.
So what am I missing?
I don't have anything against an old packet of bread rolls, but that flag can't stay there. It's unlocked. So technically that's like breaking us in. That looks like the emergency stop switch.
I was hoping for more information than that, but
I can't reach it from here. I'll have to use some
Don't tell me I have to go back to that spaceship again.
There's nothing left. We must have absorbed it by process of osmosis. We're a tad under-resourced to be attempting that at the moment.
Can I not pick up? I can't pick that one up. What about that little one up here? It does seem like a rock-based problem to solve. And if there is a specific rock I've got to pick up, that seems kind of lame.
It isn't really the sort of environment that lends itself to observational comedy. I fear I'm at risk of repeating myself.
No, one can't be picked up.
Look, there isn't really much for me to work with here.
But I don't want you to talk to me about the rock, I want you to pick it up.
There'd be loads to work with.
So somewhat annoyingly, I've just done my second Google,
Caught short. I've nothing
or
to
third if you're actually counting. And it says something about being able to pick up a rock next to the Beagle, and that it should be in your inventory. Let's try that. Where's the Beagle's up here, isn't it?
try and salvage something, like a spare wheel nut, or a fragment of dignity.
That was my fault. I probably should have.
Before its untimely passing, the Beagle 2-2 appears to have discovered a rock. Well,
Okay.
quite too Thomas tomb, but right now I'll take another peek around. Wouldn't kill anyone. How's that? Don't be fooled by the rocks that I've got. I'm still fast. It would appear there seems to be little else down here besides this copious stockpile of fermented grape juice. How's that? Blast. As innovative as the tactic of attempting exactly, may as well embark on some industrial espionage. Why with the weather for it? That looks like the emergency stop switch. It's empty. Lacking in substance. No chance of spirits running low on this ship. Best to hold on to my weighted companion if I'm unable to find a solution to our... How's that? It's a good throwable weight. Aerodynamic looking too.
Ah.
Well, that ought to do the trick. Best take the
I felt bad for killing a washing machine,
Do a
but
sort of rebranding outside.
he deserved it.
Victory is ours, Sub-Lieutenant Jones. Now I know how Nelson felt at Trafalgar. Prior to being shot, of course. Although I'm fairly certain I pulled something in my throwing arm earlier, so I can empathize. Quickly, Sub-Lieutenant Jones! We don't have long. Do you have a flag ready for hoisting?
Let's have this long conversation where we don't have much time.
Is it ready to go?
Aye, boyo.
Right. Now make sure it's the right way round. Honestly, the number of people that make that mistake, it's just bad schooling if you ask me.
I think I hear someone coming. Will I hoist it now, boyo?
Steady, Jones. It isn't official unless we play the national anthem. Fortunately, I have it saved on this anodized aluminium portable music player.
Nice. Why can't I just skip the song?
Quickly, boyo. They're all...
Okay, I got it. Now. This land is hereby property of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth.
C'est bien.
Well,
Oh, excusez-moi. Your queen is welcome to this drab Baron Infantile Rock, Monsieur English. Je suis désolé. We have discovered a land so abundant and fertile that even the grapes we harvest will be so ripe and succulent that even you British, in spite of your primitive, insipid palate, will acknowledge the superiority of our fine French wine. Au revoir, Monsieur English.
I think we'd better be heading on ourselves, boyo.
I concur, Sir Lieutenant Jones. It was delightful meeting you, chaps, eh? Arrivederci. Bourgogne Chardonnay, 2015. Good year.
Look, boyo, over there.
Is it the ghosts? No, it's a giant spaceship. Ah, the Americans have shown up.
Why does it always rain in England?
Is that it? I mean, it's refreshingly honest. It's a shame because I actually really enjoyed that. Other than my own idiotic inability to play puzzle game in adventure games, that's pretty damn good. Is there going to be any jokes in the credits? Other than this like Star Wars motif that's going on. I am surprised that that's quite that short. So that was the entirety of Her Majesty's Spiffing. A surprisingly good adventure game that I was not expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. But I did enjoy it. So let's walk through the good. It is a genuinely funny game. I'm sure, as always with comedy, your mileage may vary, and I'm willing to accept. I've already read user reviews that said this game isn't funny, and I kind of disagree. Obviously I disagree. I laughed all the way through it. I think the fourth wall breaking would annoy some people. It towed the line okay for me, but no, I genuinely think it's well written. Even if the plot isn't particularly strong, I think the jokes are pretty decent. It's a small scale game, but that doesn't mean that it's lacking in anything. I think it's kind of a perfectly formed little thing. The story doesn't go very far, and for an adventure game that's probably a little bit disappointing, but for what it is, I think it does what it needs to, and it makes use of that space pretty well. The little spaceship, you're in it for, say, 2/3 of the game, so they make good use of a very small amount of space. They also come up with some interesting puzzles. I think some of the pick up item and turn them over in your inventory, so you can like turn the vinyl record over, and you can take the paperclip off of the safety instructions. Some of that stuff's quite interesting and shows a attention to detail that I really do appreciate. It's a visually great game. I saw some comments that said that this game looked like it came out of 2008, and I don't understand why anybody would think that. There's very clearly some like Unreal Engine 4 looking effects. That spaceship, the very first room you're in, it's a really nice looking room, and the character models are stylized for sure. They're not, you know, massively high poly, but I think for the game they're trying to create, it looks pretty damn good. That write protect tab on the floppy disk, I'm still thinking about it now. That's just a really nice little touch that I didn't expect. So I don't really like talking about the bad. There's some general adventure game stuff that I think bogs this game down, especially towards the end. Some of the puzzles are a little bit make sure you got the right item, otherwise you're not going to know what the hell to do, and it's not particularly forthcoming with hints, I don't think, which could maybe help players like me who are a bit dense. I think the controller interface could be a little bit slicker. There was definitely a lot of sections of gameplay that were me pressing the wrong button and ended up talking to something or attempting to talk to something that I tried to interact with. It's something that I think Telltale games have gotten away from, quite rightly, and I go back and forth on it. I think it's quite nice to have those Soundmax style icons of interact, talk, all of these separate things, but in Her Majesty Spiffing it just kind of got in the way for me. The fixed camera angles, I don't think it's a big deal, but it's really nice artwork, so it's kind of a shame that the camera is fixed in a certain location. I get the fact that that probably means they'd only have to render a certain amount of real estate and essentially build a diorama, but it would be quite nice to move the camera around. It probably would make some of the puzzles a little bit easier as well, because you might spot things that you might otherwise not notice. There's really not enough of it. I think, having said it's perfectly formed, I don't think it could have gone much longer, but it definitely could have gone for another half an hour, and they clearly had more story to tell. They just sounds like they just kind of ran out of money, which is the most probably disappointing thing, is that they clearly didn't want to end that game there, so it's a shame. I probably would have felt a little bit more out of place if I'd have spent full price on it. It sounds like the price of the game has come down since it first came out, which would help, and I bought it on sale as well, so that also helps, but it's something to bear in mind. It literally only took me 90 minutes, and I know I looked up a couple of the solutions, so let's just call it 2 hours. But yeah, 2 hours is still pretty short for a game of this kind of caliber. The user reviews, I had a hard time. There's not a great deal of user reviews on Metacritic. This is across basically every single platform. PC, Xbox One, Switch, PS4. I'd be curious to see that Switch version. I think this would be a good fit for that platform. But as you can see, there's some pretty positive reviews, and there's only one I found that was particularly negative. And, you know, that negative review is really kind of, well, to be honest, if you look at these reviews, most of them say wait for a sale. And I think that's the length of the game, really. If it was a little bit longer, people wouldn't feel too bad about it. In terms of the list, though, I kind of don't worry about price, because we're talking about games out of time. You know, the Getaway would have been 40 quid when it came out, so can't really worry about price. And unfortunately, I'm not going to break with tradition, and I'm going to put it in Metacritic order, because I do think Her Majesty's Spiffing was a much more enjoyable experience than the Getaway. It's quite hard to compare an hour-and-a-half adventure game with an 8-hour open-worldy kind of action game, but the Getaway is definitely a much more ambitious game, but I also don't think it succeeds at a lot of the things it tries to do, whereas Her Majesty's Spiffing, yes, is smaller in scope, but I enjoyed it a lot more, and I think it's still relatable today, if, you know, only 2 years later after it's been released. You know, that Switch version came out in 2018, so it's still fresh enough, and I would love to see what this studio could go on to do. I'd love to see a sequel. So that's Her Majesty's Spiffing. I haven't decided what I'm going to do next, and I've got to decide where I'm going to record it, because I've got to reset up all of this wonderful recording equipment somewhere else. But for now, that's playing devil's advocate. hopefully we're back next week.